I think if it's immediate, people are going to respond as an individual, but if it's collective and you can't see what's going on, then that's a real challenge.
Yeah. So drills are obviously something that help with that process.
Yep.
Is there a right way and a wrong way to do a drill?
I think so. I think, well, for me, all people safely out of the building and to the assembly area, that's the outcome that we're chasing. But that starts in that collective, right? So all people, how do you know that there's all people are out of the building?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question, right? Like, how do you know that? If you're on the ground, if we're in a 30-storey commercial building and you're the chief warden and you are trying to fight for information to make a statement that all people are safely out of the building. So before you go into an incident, understand how the building works, understand what the procedures are and how you can best make use of the resources you have, and then try and make good decisions along the way.
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Facilities, the podcast where we talk about the insights, innovation and impact of the FM industry. My name's Aaron.
And my name's Nick, and today we had a conversation with David Gilmore, the director at Evac Services. It was a really interesting and fun conversation.
Yeah, all about emergency planning and the value of human life, really.
Yeah, really. How to prepare for emergencies, what good preparation looks like, how to coach people to make decisions under pressure and make the right decision.
Life preservation.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
There was some also just interesting insights into what happens in emergencies and real life examples. I think you're going to love it.
Looking for the buyout then? Just be open to change.
Just so good you spent I actually had to learn to do it because I have a question to every...
My brother had mushrooms going in his car.
Fantastic spreadsheet is like gold.
Water starts pouring on me.
It's such a rewarding career.
Drag them down!
We love you all of our customers.
Welcome to the podcast, Dave.
Oh, thanks very much.
Welcome.
Thanks for jumping on. So emergency planning, where does it go wrong?
Oh, good question.
A plan's good on paper.
Plans are good on paper. Plans have changed a little bit, I guess. Good on paper. Most people write an emergency plan, drop it in the bottom drawer of the filing cabinet and forget about it. That's a normal kind of thing to do. These days the workplaces have changed, COVID's changed things, the occupancy levels have changed, people's business outcomes have changed, and so that's not really accepted now as an emergency plan. So now an emergency plan is meant to be a live document that you understand, that's been implemented well, that people are across and have confidence in the outcomes. And most people can't say yes to that, I would say. Most people can't say, hand on heart, and am I comfortable and confident that the occupants of the building can safely evacuate in the event of an emergency. You can say yes in a casual sense, like I can follow common sense and I'm likely to walk out the door and find some stairs, but in a landlord or in an owner perspective or as a large Australian business, hand on heart, am I comfortable and confident? And most people I think would say no to that.
And how could you become more confident and comfortable with that?
I'll spend more money on outsourced providers.
Any in particular?
So I think that's a real, like, in all honesty, it's a real challenge. Like, evacuating a building is not a particularly difficult task. Most people are aware of the way and paths to get out of a building, and most people know their way around their workplace. In terms of the localised workplace, most people wouldn't practice in their lunch hour walking down the fire stairs or something and knowing where that comes out in the building. So in the event of something changing and you apply a bit of pressure and the anxiety levels go up, a lot of people struggle to deal with that and struggle to deal with that in a team-based environment. So it's easy for an individual to do something, but if it's a team-based activity, then we don't even know our teams anymore because the people on our floor just change all the time. So, so we don't have a team, we don't know who to look for, we don't know expressly or implicitly what our procedures look like, and therefore that creates doubt, and we're looking around looking for somebody else to tell us what to do. And that's a real challenge, I think. I think if it's immediate, people are going to respond as an individual, but if it's collective and you can't see what's going on, then that's a real challenge.
So drills are obviously something that help with that process.
Yep.
Is there a right way and a wrong way to do a drill?
I think so. I think, well, for me, all people safely out of the building and to the assembly area, that's the outcome that we're chasing. But that starts in that collective, right? So all people, how do you know that there's all people are out of the building?
Yeah, how?
Well, that's a good question, right? Like, how do you know that? If you're on the ground, if we're in a 30-storey commercial building and you're the chief warden and you're in the fire control centre and there's a block room that has no windows, and you are trying to fight for information to make a statement that all people are safely out of the building, that is a near impossible task. You are asking people to feed you live information.
It is impossible. Like, I remember we used to work for a software company together, and
We got evacuated.
we had to do a drill, and we were on level 47, and I remember there was a drill. I was mid-demo of our software to a potential customer, and they started the drill. I wasn't leaving that demo because that was potential commission and money for me, so I didn't leave the building. And no one came to check.
Well, that's a real thing. There's the news stations are in buildings that have fire alarms that go off while they're televising the 6 o'clock news. The train networks have live operation centres that operate all the trains. So if they have to evacuate, they've got to shut the trains off. The same for bus networks and all that. There's a lot of live operational things that conflict, not just sales and commissions, but live operational things.
But that's most important.
A police station might have persons in custody, or there are a range of things to be considered. And then you've just got your normal office environment where you might have someone there's mobility impaired, or a dog's come to work, or a working group that's got an influx of people that are not familiar with the building. There's a whole range of things that add complexity to simply just walking out the door and doing that. And that's a commercial building. That's probably the easiest thing to evacuate. If you go to a large shopping centre or something on a Saturday afternoon where there's no centre management staff, it's your largest volume of people on there, or there's a cinema and it's the last movie of the day and you've only got one person to close up and run your cinema screen, and that's a large volume of people that something is occurring, and that changes things. It becomes difficult then to say, how do I know? How do I fight for information and know that something is the case? And that's a never-ending battle for us, and when we educate people around emergency planning is fighting for information and how do you know things and how do you make good decisions. So take how the building operates. So before you go into an incident, understand how the building works, understand what the procedures are and how you can best make use of the resources you have. Then add your wardens and your kind of people on that, and then put your complexity things on there that might have occurred from the incident, and then try and make good decisions along the way.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a real challenge. It's a challenge if it's a little building because no one listens. You're mates with everybody and you're trying to affect an outcome and no one cares because they're working on their report or they're having lunch or something. And then in big buildings, there's other kind of complexities. So the thing is real. Emergency planning is a real kind of problem, and it's a real workplace risk that people are challenged by. And it used to be the responsibility of landlords and people and tenants and large businesses would let the landlord do their thing, and it's not the case anymore. And business owners have to have their own responsibilities and be comfortable and confident that there's enough being done to protect their occupants, protect their staff and their people. Yeah.
Wow.
When you have organisations or individuals reaching out to you and saying we don't think our plan's right, and you first go take a look at them, are there things that you see time and time again that they're doing wrong, or?
Well, it can be quite difficult to assess, I think, a building's capacity to respond. Because it becomes quite personal. So if you're the chief warden, you might be working for your own business on level 2, and you happen to be the chief warden for the building, and then a little old consultant might come in and say, well, I don't think you're doing a good enough job. And then they're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then all of a sudden you don't have a chief warden. So,
well, I was volunteering, so take the hat.
Correct, yeah. Don't worry about me. I've got plenty of things
Stuff
to do
you then.
So it's a challenge, and so and we talk about in a bit of a context to trying to take people for a journey. So first and foremost, be compliant. There's a stack of rules and ways of doing business. So adhere to those and do things the right way and be consistent to the standards and the regulations. And then figure out how do you get from compliant to competent and then proficient, right? So then you can drive for information, and people will automatically feed you that and know that it's important to you. Those things, and then when you look around, you can have that confidence, and right, that life safety is important, and that people have taken it seriously.
Are there elements of that now that most industries are becoming more and more automated? Is there elements of this emergency planning that's becoming more automated, or is it still, because it's people, you can't really automate it, can you?
I think the demands keep improving. So the thing that we talk about a fair bit in our business is how people are responding to Bondi and active arm offenders, and so we're seeing a range of those kind of issues play out in the Australian landscape, and the global security situation is deteriorating. So it's likely that those incidents will increase, not decrease in the near future. And so how do you do that? So if you have a building and your building's fire safety systems or life safety systems are focused around fire, and all of a sudden you need to deal with a customer aggression threat or something that's escalated or is an active arm offender, and there's no active system to deal with that. There's not like a facial recognition or we pick him up and pinpoint him as he moves around the place and then we broadcast that those kind of systems don't exist. And so it's a real challenge to think about how we do those things in the future. So if you're building a A-grade commercial building now, you'll think about them now and implement some things that assist in being able to lock down your building.
Yeah.
But you can't lock down historical buildings that have already been built. That's a very, very difficult thing to do. And you can't lock down a shopping centre. You can't just press a button and stop people coming in the shopping centre. That's not something that happens. So you've got to figure out how to crowdsource that information, how to filter that information, how to give it to the right people and be able to broadcast that back out. And that's quite a challenge, I think.
And you can't really control the public either.
No, you can't. No.
My mum was telling us only the other week that she was at her local supermarket, and where she lives is where the train station in Melbourne where the guy got murdered. Anyway, so the little supermarket complex got put into lockdown, and she's in the supermarket, and Mum just wanted to go. She's like, "Can you actually keep me here?" To the little 15-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Mum, why would you call? Just stay in this. She's like, "No, well, they can't tell me I can't leave." And she ended up just walking out. I was like, You're the problem.
You could be patient and give it a minute. The same thing happened recently where we did an evacuation exercise of a little neighbourhood shopping centre, and it was they're pretty quick exercises. Everybody out, everybody in, and it just commenced. And somebody arrived, and they were quite disgruntled that they couldn't immediately access Woolworths. And I said, it's just going to take 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll be done. Yeah. And he carried on. This person carried on a little bit, and I just responded. I said, I think it's important that we practice.
Yeah. Yep.
And the lady next to him said, absolutely, it's important that we practice. And then he didn't say anything after that, right? Like, just take a moment to allow the people that facilitate your ability to go into Woolworths and get things to have a practice with some real people in a real life event. Or a simulated event, and it gives them some exposure. And to me, it always comes back to that confidence thing, right? Yeah. So therefore, their confidence is lifted because they've practiced with real people. Yeah. There's no point evacuating a shopping centre at 7 a.m. when there's no one there. No, it doesn't give you any real life event. That's not a thing. You want that human behaviour. You want to know how people react and be able to practice dealing with those reactions and informing people and bringing them along for the journey. So,
are shopping centres actually doing drills?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, all the time. Yeah. Yeah,
fascinating.
Depending on the size of the shopping centre, lots of shopping centres like doing it when there's no one there. Yeah, we like doing it at lunchtime because it's got maximum kind of attendance, and it brings in real problems like people have just sat down to the food that they've just paid for, or the market stalls in the middle are trading and everything's left open, and the butchers are working, and everything's at full.
It's a live, realistic
and it's a live thing, and ultimately it only takes a few minutes, right? It doesn't take a long time to practice, but it gives you a real life example. And people use it to do things like people have walking tours or walking groups inside shopping centres. So if you're an older, you need to go for a walk, then they turn up first up there to go and do their walk. Like that's the thing. And so disrupting them, they can be quite frustrated by sometimes, right? Or you can involve the fire service and you can try and level it up or do some cool stuff like that. So to try and engage the occupants to treat life safety seriously, like it's a thing.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
You'd much rather learn that walking group's going to be an issue during a drill as opposed to during an emergency that's actually happening. What are some things that the building managers or the facility manager, whoever's running it, can do to set the drill up for success?
Oh, it's a good question, and sometimes we tend to overcomplicate things. Because you're trying to go from compliant And compliant is all people out of the building and safely to the assembly area. And then some people want to try, we'll introduce a medical emergency in a bathroom. Or we will have, we'll simulate 2 or 3 things happening at the same time, but only have 5 staff on hand. And so they're trying to get people to choose, but then you lose sight of the outcome, which typically is all persons safely out of the building, right? You can break it down, and we can do some good things like Sunshine Coast Council. Fairly recently, we got a smoke machine and filled the floor full of smoke, and the fireys came in and simulated activity, and we had dummies on the floor, and they had to evacuate people via the rooftop with a cherry picker, and so that was really nice to see, like an integrated kind of exercise that made people aware of what it was like for the stair pressurisation systems to come on, and it's harder to open the fire door, and there's what smoke smelt and looked like in the building, and how that might change how they feel about things. And people get very nervous, and anxiety is the thing. People want to do the right thing. Life safety is important. But if you're not taking everybody with you, and you get to the assembly area and you're like, I wonder where Jim is, that's a problem, right? You don't want to wonder. You want to know there's no one left.
And people behave erratically when they're anxious. People aren't at their best when they're anxious. So I'm sure that adds a layer of complexity.
Well, you get that you get the fight, flight or freeze kind of response. There's people that get anxious and withdraw. There's people that get anxious and want to go and solve the problem and be a part of the solution. And there's people that just have no idea what they should be doing, so they just stay in place. And so when the Westfield Bondi incident played out, you saw that on the news, those 3 types of people playing out quite clearly. And then, how do you work with that? How do you deal with that situation where people are running towards the incident as opposed to away from the incident?
Are there things that we've learnt from situations like Bondi that go, okay, this is how we can improve processes at a larger scale?
I think industry learns all the time. I think the regulations and the standards really struggle to keep up with that, particularly in emergency planning, because these things were never really conceived of, or they were thought of as security incidents 10 years ago or something.
Or until they happen, for the first time.
And there's not a clear way to solve the problem that's easy to apply. If it's a fire breaks out, sure, let's detect it and tell the fire brigade. But if a security incident breaks out, well, let's not call the police, because we have 6,000 security incidents a year, and we need to triage that, and we need to, how do I know whether that one's, there's a real complexity to, I can't just install another system in my building without impinging on, privacy rules, or without impinging on, all sorts of different things. So it's a real challenge, and landlords and owners try and look to industry to come up with practical solutions to that. The Burke Street vehicle that ran up the mall, now we have bollards and things everywhere to prevent those kind of things. But it's very hard to prevent an active armed offender entering a site. That's a very hard thing to do, or make aware, or determine whether there's intent. Sometimes I'll ask, in a room, if someone's got a gun, is that a problem? In a shopping centre, and people will often say, yes, of course it is. Well, what about the security guards and the police officers and all the people that carry a weapon as ordinary course of business? You can't just see a concealed weapon and assume that's a negative. Or you can't see a soldier and go, well, that's a bad thing. You've got to try and apply some common sense and some logic against that, and go, well, now where do I draw the line? And because that's a human-based decision, then that becomes quite subjective. And that becomes a challenge. And do I identify it early or late? The Lint Siege guy walked up and down the mall for 20 minutes before he entered the Lint Cafe.
Really?
He would pace up and down Martin Place.
With his weapon?
No, it was in his backpack, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't openly displayed, but walked up and down. So he was obviously, he would have been agitated, nervous, but
people would have just thought, oh, he's some weird guy, I've got to avoid him.
But people are happy to walk past a bin fire and not do anything about it. Not my problem, not my solution. And so they wouldn't necessarily take any action or check up on that person or do anything just because he looked agitated or those things. So there's a real challenge around what's next and how that might work. The reality is no one's died in a commercial building as a result of an emergency, right? So the things that we do are quite good, but whether we have confidence, nobody.
In Australia.
In Australia, And so our systems and the way we build buildings in Australia are quite safe, right? So
that's good.
Yeah. The maintenance can be a bit, all over the place sometimes, and there's gaps in what we do, and we can always do better. and the rules keep changing to reflect that people aren't doing the right thing. So we have to tighten the rules up to do better, and we make things more complicated in how we build buildings by, we want more open space and more desks and more things in buildings. So we have to change how we do things to accommodate that. So that adds complexity to what we do. But ultimately, we do a pretty good job of that, right? The bit that's missing is coming back to that confidence. How do I know that I can safely evacuate, or in some cases stay in a building in the event of an emergency, right? How do I do that? How do I control that? How do I have confidence that not only am I doing the right thing, I'm also doing what my plan says that I'm meant to be doing? We don't know, right? So there's a building in Melbourne. When there was an earthquake in Melbourne, and when that earthquake happened, the building evacuated, but their emergency plan said shelter in place. So there was no adverse outcome. Everybody was safe.
Is that because the plan was in the bottom of the filing cabinet?
It's because the plan was in the bottom of the filing cabinet, and no one there was training in place, but it wasn't particularly effective because no one talks about earthquakes. We have 3,000 earthquakes in Australia every year, but it's not a big thing, right? We have lots more fires than that, lots more security incidents, so it's not a thing. And so nobody checked. We went out. Now that's great. Like no adverse outcomes. So everyone was safe, good to go. Except the business said we didn't do what the plan said. So that's created a risk for us because if there was an adverse outcome, then the business has done the wrong thing. And that's a real challenge, right? So how do you then say, well, all these different types of emergencies that might happen to the building, and the risk was accounted for in the emergency plan, but the chief warden didn't react in an appropriate way.
How do you select wardens? Like, what's the process with like? I've only ever been in a couple of corporate settings where they've had wardens, but I don't. Is it like an audition process? Well, I love an audition.
It's an Australian Idol.
I'm a
The Voice.
It's never been a big thing for me. Like I've never had to go through and choose people too much anyway either. Yeah. But the standard gives you guidelines and responsibilities and things that we expect wardens to be able to do. And so the selection process should be going through some of those things. Invariably, it often ends up that the receptionist is the warden. But we have people in businesses we look after now where there's people in wheelchairs that are wardens. And when that first got posed to me, I was like, there's no chance. The person in the wheelchair, and it was only a couple of years ago that this got posed to me. It was only a couple of years ago, and I'm like, right, let me just digest that for a second. And then there's no reason someone in a wheelchair, if they just happen to be mobility impaired, does not make it a restriction of being a warden, assuming that the premise is set up for them to be mobile in the workplace. And so as long as the building's suitable and they've got mobility, then what difference does that make? And so my mindset had to change around that particular thing, and then that's a normal course of business now. There's no reason that someone who's mobility impaired can't be a warden, assuming that the facility facilitates that. So that's quite like a little learning for me. Like, that happens quite a lot.
Well, I only learned recently, and I think I was telling you about it, that I walked through a building that we're looking at doing some work in, and there were these, it looked like a disabled car space, but it was in the stairwell. It was a blue with the yellow stamp. And I was like, what is that? Why is that in the stairwell? And they said, well, when there's an evacuation, when there's a fire, or if there's a fire, how is a mobility impaired person going to get down to ground floor to the evacuation? I said, that's a great question. I've never thought of that. I was like, they'd use the lift. He said, well, you're not allowed to use the lift in a situation like that. Well, that's a real problem. And they said, well, the whole stairwell shuts off, and no fire can get into the stairwell, and then the fire brigade can come up and collect them. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, so new buildings have changed a little bit. Yeah, so not all new buildings, but lots of them will have that landing there, because the fire stairs can get quite congested. So we call that fire compartment, so it's quite safe, right, when you move into the fire stairs. And so if you're on the fire-affected floor, and 20 years ago, we just moved everybody into the fire stairs. All the mobility impaired people, in you go. And it caused all this congestion in the fire stairs because there's no room for them to stand and they'll be in the way. And so now you kind of stay in your office or on the floor unless it's fire affected and you feel unsafe, in which case into the fire stairs you go. And so that bit makes sense, right? Except we would forget about them. So you do a trial evacuation, or even a real one, and a mobility impaired person would move in the fire stairs. The drill happens. and then we leave them there.
Oh no.
And so that's a real thing that occurs from time to time, where people get left in the fire stairs and they can't go up, they can't go down, they're mobility impaired, and you can't come back in because the door's locked. And so new buildings also have an intercom now that's out on every few floors, so that you can now press an intercom and call someone to let them know that you're stuck in the fire stairs. So that's a new thing. So not only have we expanded and provided refuges inside the fire stairs, but now there's an intercom system, so you can talk to people inside, and tell people what's going on inside your fire stairs. So the things like the process has changed because we have more mobility impaired people in our workplace. Where people are working for longer than they've ever before. We have more people entering the workplace from diverse backgrounds, and so the demographic of the workplace is very, very different to what it might have been 20 years ago, 40 years ago, or something. It's quite different,
What other innovations are you seeing happen in the built environment, so in new buildings that are coming out?
From a life safety perspective, we don't. There's an increased reliance on fire extinguishers. We don't typically install fire hose reels anymore.
Really?
Because water's no good. We have so much electrical equipment on the floor, in the commercial floor. The fire hose reel really serves no purpose. And so we have an increased requirement for fire extinguishers. And a decreased requirement for water. Now, if there's a real fire on the fire service need to come, then volume overwhelms electricity, and a volume of water is okay.
And that's when the fire hose pipes are accessed.
But a fire hose reel really serves no purpose. You can't use it. And so if you did choose to use it, it's two people to roll it out, and it's a whole big thing. And then if our premise is life safety first, then it's not our job to do that. If we can't stop a small thing growing by the use of a fire extinguisher, then we simply shouldn't be there. We should be evacuated. It should be somebody else's job to come and resolve that. So that's an interesting. It takes a minute to get your head around that. We don't want a fire hose reel. We don't want water like that first response water on the floor anymore. But we do want fire extinguishers. And so Deakin University have developed a virtual reality or immersive thing that allows you to have a competency on using a fire extinguisher.
Oh, wow.
So we now see fire extinguishers coming back in, and people being able to practice using a fire extinguisher, get the anxiety into some live scenarios, and play with that and get confidence around the use of a fire extinguisher. So how we deal with an emergency inside a building now has changed. And so it's not so 5 years ago, a little electrical fault on a commercial building, we just evacuate the building, wait for somebody else to come and solve it. And now we're putting that onus back on the people and saying, well, actually, you can choose. You can choose now and say, well, I know how to use a fire extinguisher, I have the right type, it's safe for me to do so, and I'll give it a go and see if I can prevent a small thing becoming a big thing. And so that's really cool. That's very helpful. But then the flip side is also true that if my lithium, my phone with a lithium battery starts smoking, then what happens? How do I address the risk of that? And so that's a real commercial thing, and it's very rare for my phone to start smoking, or a laptop these days. But with the event of all the little cheap toys coming through, and particular in scooters and those kind of things coming into the workplace, New South Wales has a scooter fire more than one every day.
Really?
So
in a building?
In a building, So New South Wales Fire Services is called out to more than one scooter fire a day. Right, so scooters are a real risk in a commercial building. What's that?
Those essays.
And so that's a real problem, right? So then you've got this lithium stuff, and the fumes and stuff that come off lithium batteries are really, really toxic. So then you have to make a decision. If this little thing that's sitting on my coffee table here, or the scooter's in the corner, and it starts smoking away, what do I do? Do I try and do something with it, inhale the fumes and do some damage to myself? Am I prepared to call the fire brigade because there's a little tiny waft of smoke in the room and create a larger incident out of something? Like, how do I choose what to do? And there is no, or very rare to see lithium fire extinguishers in commercial buildings. We haven't quite got the right solution for that yet. And so it's a real problem for us.
What do you do?
Well, that's an individual thing. I can tell you what I can tell you.
What should I do?
Well, human behaviour says I'll try and solve the problem myself. That's what human behaviour says. If life safety is our number one priority, then I evacuate. Because that's the safest thing to do. But human behaviour says I'll try and solve the problem because I don't want to embarrass myself. I think I can do something with it, but I'll subject myself to some degree of risk. In doing so. And then we'll see what happens afterwards. And so what happens in real life is really subjective. And so it's a very hard thing to, and I don't want to say this is what you should do, because people won't do that anyway. They're going to make a decision at the time, and we just got to try and educate them to make better decisions and take life safety seriously.
Yeah.
With the increase of electric vehicles and stuff moving into society, and so we're now putting chargers in the basements of some of these buildings, and shopping centres are now having electric vehicle chargers. Is that changing the landscape for emergency planning?
Yeah, it makes it quite difficult. Solar panels as well.
Yeah.
Having live electricity feeds coming into a building where you can't shut it off, like you can't turn those things off and it stays live. That's a problem. And electric vehicles inside like a parking complex or something is a real problem. So there's a fire overseas where they thought it was an electric vehicle caught fire and it demolished the whole multi-storey car park. But the reality, I know it's a bit shocking, but the reality is that electric vehicles are actually quite safe. So there's like 30 million electric cars on the road now. Yeah. We've never had a fire from a manufacturer's fault. So if you compare that to a combustion engine car, then it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it's never happened in an electrical car. The only time they've caught fire is when people have swapped out non-genuine products. The car I referred to in the multi-storey car park, I think he took the batteries out because it was in the long-term car park and he stored them next to the car or something. It is human error that has caused these things. Yeah. But there's still a real risk, right? So the risk is still your car is on charge, which is the most dangerous time. You've got supercharged, you've got lots of electricity pumping through. It's in a confined space, so if something happens, then that confined space gets filled with lots and lots of really toxic fumes. And the car parks aren't generally built to be able to exhaust those things quickly. Yeah. And so the firefighting apparatus isn't really keeping up with that risk. Yeah. They're getting better. The firefighters are getting some new tools now that can to put out electric car fires faster and be able to deal with that risk a whole lot better. Yeah. But the risk is still there, and it's still quite real, even though it's a lot more, it's a lot less risk than a combustion car in the same space. We just see it as a greater risk. The consequences are higher than a combustion car, but the risk of it happening is less.
Okay. That's interesting because I haven't. When you said the risk of the supercharge and the high electricity, I'm like, I've got an electric car and I sit in it while the supercharge is going. Maybe I should just go shopping or something. It's terrifying.
Well, it's the superchargers coming out now, and I think the latest one that they've tested is 5 minutes. You can do your car from 0 to 80% or something in 5 minutes. So they are pumping that energy in there. Like at a furious pace, like it is on fast flow, and just in it goes, right? Yeah. So if something went wrong, I'd imagine that would happen quite quickly. So it probably doesn't matter to you one way or the other. You probably won't even know that occurred.
I wouldn't have even time to think about it.
You won't understand.
Be gone.
Whereas in a combustion vehicle, you can kind of see a bit of smoke and then a flame happens and you got a minute. I don't think that might happen in an electrical vehicle in the future.
How do you help people assess the risk in the moment? So a lot of what you're talking about is like you can't necessarily know exactly what to do in every situation, pre-plan it. But it sounds like you can plan how you're going to think about it. How you're going to assess things.
From my perspective, we try and simplify things as much as we can, right? So there's a process to go through in order to evacuate, both from an individual perspective to make a good decision, and then from a collective, from a warden group or something, a collective, there's a process to go through. We try and teach people how their building operates, so how to better utilise their resources, understand what the people look like in their building. So if you've got activity-based working and there's less people or whatever, how do we respond so that we know what resources are available? And then we try and teach them how to do better decisions. And for me, it just comes down to stay or go. So whatever the risk is, whatever's occurred, you just have to make a decision whether you're going to stay in the building or everyone's going to leave the building. That's the only real decision you've got to make, and then you've got to filter everybody through that process. Whichever process that is, stay or go, right? And so if you can do that and we can make good decisions, then life safety becomes a whole lot easier to work with. And it doesn't matter too much what the incident is, only that we get visibility over it, we know what it is, and then we know how we're going to best deal with it. Wow.
You've been in this emergency planning space for a while, so you've got some really good experience. What do you think it is about, like, the role that you play as a consultant, or whatever it is that you're bringing into these buildings? What do you think it is that sets you guys apart, like, in that space?
Oh, us as a business, like Evac Services as a business?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. That's the comply, learn, engage bit. So deliver something as compliant, teach people something and make them feel like it's a valuable use of their time. And so that's important to us. So lots of our competitors will come in, deliver a dry, boring beige. These are the rules, these are your responsibilities, this is how it works. You've heard it all before and off you go, right? That's not us. From us as a business, we want to teach you something and we want to make it a valuable use of your time. So when you walk away, you go, I learned something, that was awesome, I need to go back because there's so much more that I can get out of these sessions that I did not get out of today. And so if we can express that and people get that from us, then they come back next time, which is important. So the emergency control organisation comes together as a team because more people are there more often, and they're there to learn because last time they learned something. So this time they're like, I really need to be open because I know that I'm going to learn something new this time. So for us, and that changes it, and it's for us because sometimes we won't deliver the same session. We'll focus on a different objective or a different component of emergency planning to focus on so that people learn something new. And that is across all businesses. So we service little tiny sites that are just a donger in the middle of nowhere, and we've got to come up with something that is where we're going to teach them something and they feel like it's a valuable use of their time, even though their office is the size of this room, right? We've got to come up with that. That's our job, right? We've got to come up with something, and at the end of it, they should feel like it's a valuable use of their time, and they should give us feedback that says that, right? That's what should happen. All the way through the biggest building in Australia, we have to figure out how to bring a couple of hundred people together and make every single one of them feel like it's a valuable use of the time and they've learned something out of that, right? So that's the thing. And if they do that, then you'll see our Google reviews and people give us 5 stars and we're transparent in that way. And we solicit Google reviews to get people to talk about us. And our competitors don't do that. They're not willing to do that because they feel like what happens if someone gives them a bad review, you know? They didn't get those kind of outcomes. Oh, that was pretty boring. You didn't learn anything today. We just went through the compliant outcome or something. So that's kind of what, there's some other things, but that's kind of what sets us apart is our learning methodology and how we approach that compliant outcome is different. We're not interested in just ticking the box and being compliant. We're interested in you being effective and walking away and saying, I am comfortable and confident in my role.
You said at the very beginning of the episode that it's no longer putting that file in the bottom of the filing cabinet and leaving it there. It's now expected that it's a living document. What does that actually look like in reality?
Oh, that's a good question,
Even you can say it's a living document, but
what does that mean?
What does that mean? Because they've got facility managers and the wardens and everything. They have 10,000 other things that they're doing.
So of all the plans in all the world and all the documents that people need in the manuals that they need, how do we make sure emergency planning is top of the list? And every time something changes, we're like, how does that affect my plan? How do you do that? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. It's a real challenge, right? It's a real challenge. So if you have a 20-story commercial building and the average weighted lease is 5 years or something, so in the next 5 years, one tenant might change. How does that change my emergency plan? Like, what do I need to do to keep that live? Well, it's probably not going to change a whole lot from a structural perspective, but the people are going to change because the average tenure of a person is only 3 years. So you've got this constant flow of people coming through. So how do you maintain your warden list? How do you make sure there's enough people? How do you continue to get people to be interested in emergency planning and coming to training stations, finding it a valuable use of their time, participating in the evacuation exercise instead of blowing it off for their sales pitch? How do you get people to make that an important part of their life? I think that's how you got to keep it alive, right? It's not just creating editable fields, and we have those, so you can update the contact details as they change, right? We do those things. But how do you make it a integral part of your business so that people know when I walk into my retirement village, the occupants of that, the people in their house know implicitly or they know how the emergency plan works for that village, right? And every time something changes, they're communicated with, they think it's important, they digest it, they ask questions, they become very comfortable with what's changed. It's a really hard thing to do, and it takes time for a business, for a facility, for wardens, for people to do that. But that's where it needs to go, right? It needs to be the important part. People need to know if we're going to react to an emergency, this is what is expected of me, and this is what I can expect of the people around me. To do that, and that's documented and makes sense in a simple, easy to digest format.
I don't think I've ever really met a person who's a warden in a building. Maybe I have. And
I'm sure.
But they're probably not broadcasting.
But I imagine
wearing their hat.
Well, no, but that's what I imagine they're like. Because in TV and in movies, you see the warden's like a Karen type person.
Yes.
And so when you say like, how do you make it so it's like, that's what I imagine. It consumes them.
Yeah.
Like this is the sort of person who that's all they're thinking about, even though they do have another job.
There's TV shows out there that do express that kind of that thing, right?
But that's not really the case, you say.
Well, I don't think. Well, for most people, it's their side hustle, right? Like they might be passionate about
side
safety,
hustle.
but they're a warden and they have a role. Yeah, some people get paid to be a warden. They get a little extra.
Oh, really?
In a business, lots of government people and lots of businesses, large businesses, pay people a little extra to be a warden. And so they comes with responsibilities, and so sometimes a little placard above their desk that identifies who the warden is, and sometimes it's there's a big sign on their back that says "Come and talk to me," and I take this job seriously, perhaps. But that's a thing for some people. Yep. So for some people, it's very easy to take it seriously because they get a paycheck and there's expectations around that. For other people, it's a volunteer role. It's begrudgingly, I have to do it because everyone else took a step backwards.
And then for others, they just love the power trip, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Is it, when you say like it's a volunteer, do you think, in your opinion, it's better to have someone who's assigned the warden? Like like you said before, the receptionist, it just falls into their remit?
Yep.
Or is it better to put it out there and say, hey, who would like to be the warden, and have people apply? And
it's a good question, but I think everybody should take life safety seriously. And so I think it should be everybody's responsibility to not walk past the cigarette butt into the waste paper bin, but to identify that that's occurred, raise the alarm, tell someone about it, and reduce or mitigate the risk, whatever that might be, and not just for fire safety, but for life safety and other parts of their life. Like I think it's everybody's responsibility to say that's not acceptable in my workplace. Whatever that might be, right? And if you can do that, then the new people coming into your workplace get bred on that that feeling and those kind of things. And there's a big step change when we did gas, all the gas construction, Curtis Island and the like. They spent oodles of money on safety, and that with a view of that trickling down into the commercial world, right? Mm-hmm. And safety and injuries are no longer acceptable in the workplace. And in football, if you're an NRL fan. Broncos fan because we're in Brisbane.
AFL down.
But they're trying to take injuries out. Well, AFL's doing it. They're trying to take injuries out of football. Like,
how do you do that?
How do you take injuries out of football? Well, the NRL can give you 5 pages of things that they're doing to try and take injuries out of football to reduce the risk of that, right? Because that's your workplace. You come there and you don't deserve to be injured or get a concussion and stuff out of a game of football, right? That's not... Shouldn't be an expectation you will finish a game of football with a concussion. Right? But we have an expectation you finish the game of football without a concussion. I bet we do that. And it's the same in the workplace. 0 injuries. Let's just do that.
Wouldn't it make football more boring though to watch?
Do you think football's got more boring over the last 5 years or less boring?
It's always been boring to me.
You just claim to support the AFL.
No, I said I'm from Melbourne. I understand ARL. I don't understand ARL, AFL. But yeah, no.
And I think to your point in that same analogy, it's everyone's responsibility. It's not, okay, there's one player on the field who's responsible in minimising concussions. It's everybody. We're all in it together.
Correct, yeah.
So you're a footy fan, Nick. Have you noticed it? Has it made a difference to footy?
Oh, I mean, there's changes every year that they make, trying to alter things, and sometimes it changes the game for the better and other times for the worse, but you get used to it, and once you've moved past it and you realise, why are we putting up with people breaking their leg once every 2 weeks
why
for the
would we
game?
celebrate people fighting inside the game?
Exactly. Like the guys in the 90s who used to be fine, and everyone thought, it's just part of the game.
Win the fight.
Who cares what the message is to the kids? Like, anyway, with enough time, everyone looks back at it and thinks, I'm so glad we made that change.
Everyone deserves safety.
Correct.
Exactly.
And so, from my perspective, if you don't know whether something is safe or not, you should ask. and be educated on that, and then you know for next time, right? And so you might have a question about something that appears to be unsafe, and they get educated and find out that it is safe. Yeah. And no one's ever should be chipping you on the fact you asked the question. No, that shouldn't be a thing. You should be encouraged to ask the question and challenge some of those things and say, that makes sense to me. And it makes sense that I am in a safe workplace, that my commute to and from work safe, that I can live a long and healthy life and have great air quality.
That summed up all of our episodes in one. Here in Brisbane.
Wells, get the Wells standard in, let's go. But air quality is a thing, but emergency planning makes it into the Wells standard. So if you think about the quality of life in the workplace, the emergency planning fits into that. And it's an outcome. It's a property risk, but it's a human outcome.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Great.
I've learned a lot
David.
today.
I feel like I just talked a lot.
Well, that's the
idea of a podcast.
Thanks so much for your time and for coming in.
No problem at all. Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
it,
you.
guys.